gonna have to ignore my chicken scratch coin tree here, but for the sake of information, I'm gonna explain to you the hierarchy of the trenches. To make money in the trenches, we got to know where the volume is. The volume is always going to be following the meta, and right now the meta is the content creator meta. These are our live streams. Pump Funds recently incentivized creators to come to their platform. The longer their coins are around, the more creator rewards they make. Actually make a ton of money. It's pretty sick. But for the rest of us, we are betting on these guys. Underneath the umbrella meta of the CCM, we have our OG tickers, the FTP, Bagwork, and Runner tokens that we've seen recently. These were kind of running the narrative last week. FTP was feeding homeless people. Bagwork was just dudes being crazy, and then Runner started all these challenges of staying on the treadmill to 100 million market cap. Everyone else tried to copy him after. This is where we want to be. We want to be early in on these guys. These guys make the most money. To be early in on these guys, we got to find OG tickers, something that we find kind of interesting, something unique, something that resonates with us a little bit. Below that, we have these guys. These guys are all knockoffs. They come in after they've seen how far these OGs have ran. So we had Food for Gaza, this cancer token, Aussie Bagwork, UK Bagwork. And these guys, they don't run as high as the originals. I think most of these were mid millions, 5 to 10 million. These guys all ran to above 10 million. Bagwork was 50 million. And then below these secondary coins, we've got, again, recycled ideas. These ones don't really ever hit a million. Some of them might not even bond. And then you're going to see all the copycats down here in this third layer here. And you kind of have to spend a little time in the trenches to start recognizing these patterns, which ones were first and which ones are clearly not first. There's still money to be made here. I was in a few of these coins. I think most of them went up to 250 and then kind of died after. But below this is probably 90% of the trenches. Probably what 95% of the trenches is bottomless trash. It's just copycat tokens, reused ideas, over and over again. You're going to see it. You don't want to get caught in these guys. You're going to lose all your money. These are devs that are just going to dump on you. So for us to not get caught trading in here, we got to know where the meta is and these OGs. We got to be finding these OGs, or at minimum these second layer tokens. I have found it to be easier to make some scratch with these streamer tokens. We're probably not going to find the next OG 50 million runner on a Friday afternoon, especially with Solana being down, crypto's down. It's pretty slow. I'm not sure how this weekend's going to look, but I know there's 3 types of coins no matter what I'm not going to get involved in. My rule of thumb is any streamer token I'm not going to get involved in. When I say streamer token, I mean gaming streamers. A lot of times they can put gameplay footage on their stream, have a soundboard behind that, and pretend to be your favorite streamer. These tokens don't run. They're kind of hard to catch on to at first, but they'll make a fake X with it and they'll dump on you as soon as they see a little bit of profit. As well, hot chick tokens, not a fan of those. My HCTs, kind of looks like we got one here with Mag, 8.4 market cap, probably nothing. The stream's probably not even running. BB here, it's just chicks trying to be hot, and then I think the trenches are going to buy into it and give them all their money. Some of you might. You're going to get dumped on. You won't do it after you've done it once, I promise you that. And yeah, just any copycat tokens. It's hard to find copycats in the streams if there's no meta right now. All the metas from last week have kind of died down. You'll see copycats a lot more over here. Our non-streamer tokens. If we look now, we see Answer Engine. We have this symbol, Siri GPT, this symbol, Apple GPT, all these. These are all the same. So just for example, our streamer tokens, these are tokens I like to avoid as well. Where we're just seeing gameplay footage. A lot of times the dev has a soundboard hooked up and they'll make it seem like they're interacting with the chat, you know, but it seems a little unnatural. They'll take a little while to respond. Typically it's Fortnite streams. You'll see a lot of Fortnite streams with your favorite streamer, and then there's soundboarding. It's not actually your favorite streamer, it's some 13-year-old in their basement trying to steal your money. Money in these lower market cap coins is getting in and out quick. We want to be getting in sub 30k. Anywhere below there, we don't need a ton of volume or time in the chart to make our money back. So if we're in at 15k, which is a very reasonable time to get into the chart, you know, it's been picked up a little bit, people are kind of buying into the idea. We go up to 30k, you know, 17k, whatever, 35k, we've made our money back. That's quick. That's a couple minutes we're probably in this chart if it's taken off, and we're done. The areas we really need to avoid are these pre-migration 70, 80, 90k zones. This is bad news bears. You're going to get dumped on the post-migration dump, which happens almost every time. So migration being 100k at this time, I think it was. Looking at price action, what do we see? Right around 15k, we see a lot of volume come into this. People start acknowledging its existence. People are getting excited. It starts pumping. So these 15k people are now taking profits up at 50, 45, 30k. We see a dump, and then new buyers are coming in and pushing it up to just below 100k. 100k is a psychological zone. You need to be aware of it. People get scared, people take profits, and it's just a resistance zone in almost every chart. So looking at the market, 85k, and we dump. You know, this is a live stream coin. Who knows what happened here? He maybe could have gone offline for a second. People got afraid. Maybe he lost connection. That is the thing with these streamer coins, is that they're very dependent on Wi-Fi and just environmental factors. Anything can happen, right? So we dump down to 15k. This is a generational entry. You're confident in the streamer, he comes back online right here, and we pump again. People are liking what he's doing. We pump up to 60, 70k. This is all these people taking profits. 30k up to 60k. This is 100% profit. It's just rinse and repeat, guys. These guys aren't going for the 300, 200x tokens right now. No, they took their initials and they probably got out. Maybe they completely removed themselves from the chart. We dump now from 60 down to 27, and then we see our last rally to 100. At 100k, we have migration. This is where bots, bundles, and large holders typically get out, or again, at least take their initials. Well, bots will fully get out. Take their initials and dump. So we see this massive pump up to 275. Tons of volume gets introduced, and then dump. So a lot of this volume is going to be people seeing it on trending right around here. These 60 to bonding curve people. This is where we want to be in already. And if we're not in, we need to wait, because exactly this will happen almost every time, where we dump down to at or below 100k. Our entry now, after bonding, could be anywhere between 95 to 50,000. Another great entry, and we're, how many hours has it been? 2 hours past the creation, and we're getting in at 50k. That's unreal. Look at all the volume getting introduced. Mind you, we need to keep an eye on the 5-minute volume here, as well as viewership on these streams. If there's no 5-minute volume and no viewers, and we're down here, this thing is probably going to dump and go to zero. So there's a little bit of a nuance we need to be aware of. After our entry, we are cooking. If you got the diamond hands to hold all the way up to 500, you 10x'd your money. Unreal. But the reality is these 10x's aren't realistic. Over and over and over again, you're gonna get killed in here trying to 10x your money. So what we do to maintain continuity, to survive in these PvP markets, is we take initials. So we talked about the 100k resistance and support level. Hypothetically, we are in at 20,000. We only need to get to 40k to be able to take out our initials for 100% profit. The difference between 20,000 and 40,000 is what? 20,000. Very small when you have hundreds of people investing in a chart. You're way more likely to get your money back 100% profit down here than you are above this line. Mind you, everything is subjective. Every coin might be running harder than the last, but let's look at the maths of it. For us to get 100% at 200k, we have to get up to 400k. The difference between 200 and 400k is 200,000. That's a lot larger number than the 20,000 we were dealing with down here. And that's why it's important to at least take out our initials down here. I invest one soul at 20k. I get to 40k. I take one soul out. I am now risk free. This soul either goes to 0 or it moonbags up to 555k. But either way, I am out of this chart and I am risk free. So using our entry and exit strategy, looking at the profit potential of this coin, if we got in on this candle here, again this is generous, 16k, for us to be out of our position with our initials, we only have to get up to 35k. I invest one soul here at 17k. I am out at 35k and leaving the soul I've made in this chart. No matter what happens from this point, I am not going to lose money. This can come down. I am left with half a soul in profit still. From here, it goes up, which is exactly what we want to see. What crypto Twitter isn't telling you is that these 20-30 X's, there is profit taking along the way. The new trenchers, they're leaving their full positions in and they're getting killed. They're losing more than they're making, which leaves you with negative P&L. You need to be taking profits. You're taking initial investment will save you the most in the long run than hoping that your 0.2 soul turns into $2,000 in 5 minutes. Alright, so we see the process play out again and again. We have our initial resistance at about the 30% of 100 mark. This chart might have been pretty hard to get into in that 20-30k range we like. There's a lot of volume here, but with our principles, we know that we will probably get a resistance zone around 100 and it'll give us an entry. Our entry on this chart could be in this area down here, the 45k mark. This is still an acceptable entry as it is not within 30% of 100 pre-migration. We can get out with 100% profit at 50k right at 100. At this point we can leave our initials, we take our initials and let the rest ride. What happens here to the people getting in at the 100K mark. They're top last in this chart, and look, they do not have enough to get out safely. If this chart doesn't continue up after migration, which many of them don't, the best they can do is 50% profit if they are smart enough to get out. So we are out with our initials at migration and completely prepared to let this chart do whatever it's going to do. We are risk-free now. And as we see, yet again, the process, we bust through migration, go up to 155, and we break down to 82K. All these people up here are taking their profits from here or down here. There's a new cycle of volume coming in. Original buyers getting out, and hopefully new buyers getting in. So we see the chart find support at or around the 100K mark. We break up and back down, but this is a higher low now. And we break back up above 100, and it doesn't return back.